Hello, hello, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Extend Bricks Originals! And for this very special episode, we will be featuring the LYKA compatible custom Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Season 3 Bumpy the Ankylosaurus. But before we head off with this video, I'd like to say thanks to youtube.com audio library for this awesome background music. But before that, please subscribe, like, and share, and also hit that notification bell. Please do not skip on all the ads on all my videos to support my channel. Please also follow me on all my social media platforms. We have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. There I'll be posting some of my exclusive photos and video clips as well. And without further ado, let's begin with the making of Bumpy. Now here's the kit bashing portion of Bumpy. You can see that there are a lot of parts coming from different figures, such as the big Triceratops, the small Triceratops, as well as King Ghidorah figures, even the old Brachiosaurus that I have. The next process was actually sculpting, wherein I used epoxy non-stack parts A and B. And then after that, we proceeded with, of course, primering the figure after it has been wet sanded. Now, all that is left to do for this Bumpy figure would be to, of course, paint it. Now, a little tip guys, don't start painting unless the primer is actually very dry. Now, this actually takes about a few hours before you do the actual painting of this figure. And before that, of course, references here, we always have to have references because otherwise we'll have the color all messed up. So here's a gif of Bumpy's really cute, even though he's already a sub-adult, and that particular turquoise color is really growing into me. I'm a little bit hesitant at first to color it such because I never really had so much color or that vibrancy in an Ankylosaur before, but nonetheless, let's give it a shot, shall we? So I started out by mixing blue and green and then just a little bit of white, and then I wanted this to be the base color for the entire back, the body of Bumpy, as well as the head, and also at least the top portion of the tail. And you must be asking at this point, why is Allan coloring Bumpy with such dark colors? Well, in fact, Bumpy is a light colored teal. Well, you'll see later that I will be using the teal colors for it to be able to highlight as scales or the armor for Bumpy. Acrylic colors actually darken up when they are dried, so I'm going to wait for this particular color to dry up, and then we'll be adding several more layers to it so that it will be uniformly spread throughout the figure. So the secondary colors for Bumpy would be this mixture of white, yellow chrome, yellow ochre, and a little bit of what I had left from earlier, the darker blue-green colors. And this will be applied to the lower parts of the body, such as the underbelly, the arms or the legs, and then of course the lower jaw of Bumpy, as well as the undertail. And now for the fun part. This is just a color teal that I have, and then I'm applying it to all the scales of Bumpy's. Now, Bumpy will have different sizes of scale, from small to larger scales on the head, even the back sections. They are actually divided into several, larger scales on the back, forming Bumpy's armor. The darker color here, which is the blue-green one, will actually act as the frame of all the scales that I will be painting on Bumpy. So this is actually the more time-consuming part, painting on the individual scales, because not only that it is painted individually, but I have to somehow uniformly paint this on the other side as well. So as with my other custom paintings, I usually do one side first and then the other, so that the both sides are actually looking the same, or they are symmetrical. Also, I try my best to paint as straight as possible, especially in this back section of Bumpy, because it has this, straight delineations between each armor. So that one, I really take my time to, paint really carefully, not to overwrite on the other side of the armor. So I do this process throughout the body, also painting several scales on the leg section as well as that of the face. And although this particular part of the body is hidden, I still wanted to have that particular detail. So I'm painting the same color of scales here and placing it on, randomly on this particular part of the body. I won't be painting on the top portion of this one because it will actually be attached to the armor on top of it, so it will not be seen. So just the sides. This particular painting pattern is actually carried over until the end of the tail, as you can see here on the other side. And here is how it looks like so far. I can see already Bumpy on its silhouette. There's still a lot of work to be done, especially painting the sides of the legs, and here it is. So you can see here that I'm actually looking at the references here from Bumpy's picture, that Bumpy has this orangey feel on the some parts of its face, as well as the light tan colors on the bottom parts of its body. So I'm doing several coloration on that, and you can see here the subtle differences between that color. I just added a little bit red on the current color that I have, and then applying it on these particular areas. I wanted Bumpy to have extra details to it, so I'm painting scales, individual scales on the feet as well, going towards the leg portion. And now it's time to paint Bumpy's horns. This is actually a mixture of just white and a little or a touch of black to it. It makes it appear light gray, and it's the perfect color for all the horns and all the spikes that Bumpy has. Bumpy's horn is a little bit asymmetrical. You can see here that the right horn on Bumpy is actually smaller than the left one. So we have to have that particular delineation as well. There are just a few more things to paint on for Bumpy before we call it a finished paint, such as the details on the eyes, and then of course the beak, the nails, and so on. And that about completes the making of Bumpy. We're going to need to protect it from paint scratches by spraying it with some clear varnish. And it's time for us to announce the Guess SPC contest winners. And let's start with the lucky picks. Paradesi, Godzilla Super, Giovanno, Monet, Colton, Garman, The Crazy Chicken, Juan Diego, Liam Bricks, and Victor. Congratulations everyone, and now for our top 10 winners!
Top 10
Dinomation, Roughly Alparisi, Gilherme Matters, Let's Get Ruby, Captain Vermeulen, Alucard, Ricardo Foster, Classic PL, Mandiamar, and Maximum Power. Congratulations everyone, and I'll see you on the next Guess SPC contest. If you'd like to join, here's how. Just click on the Extinct Bricks icon and it will lead you to the Extinct Bricks homepage. And in the homepage, just click on the community link and it will lead you to all my posts. Aww. What's that? Uh-oh. Well, we know how that ended up. Well, let's proceed with some bricks of Bumpy. And we have here all the parts. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have 14 pieces to it. Let's start by, assembling this part where the back armor goes. So let's attach this one, and then this one, and then the last piece. There you go. Now let's assemble the tail part. So we have two parts to it, the club and the entire tail. And then let's assemble the head. So let's connect the lower jaw. Alright. And then let's connect this, to the neck part. There you go. Now it's time for us to assemble Bumpy. Let's connect this to the body. Then let's attach the limbs. The left, the right, and the left. There you go. Now let's attach the tail. It's a ball and socket joint, so it's very movable. Now let's attach the armor. Press down. And that's it. Voila! Our LYKA compatible custom Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Bumpy. Now it's time for us to move on with a closer look of Bumpy. And here we are. Of course, Usher here is joining me to be presenting here Bumpy, and he's actually strolling along around the forest with Bumpy here. He feels protected because Bumpy is by his side. So for those of you who haven't watched the season 3 for Camp Cretaceous, please watch it because Bumpy, if you're a fan, actually played an important role in this particular series, even more than what we had for season 2. And moving on, This Bumpy is actually based off from the, of course, season 3 Bumpy that we have here. He's all grown up, although he's a sub-adult. I made a bigger one so that it's already the adult portion or the adult Bumpy here. And giving us a closer look here, Bumpy, come here, a little bit closer. Don't be shy. So Bumpy has this, cute little smile to it. His colored tail, unlike most of the Ankylosauruses in Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, which is mostly brown and some are actually gray. And Bumpy is really colorful, and I like how he actually looks like. You can see here he has a black beak, and then his eyes are really, striking with that background of dark red to it. He has this armor plates on the top of its head, on the neck, as well as that of the back. He also has spikes all over his body, bigger spikes on the sides, and then smaller ones on the top portion. You also have this club with 4 globes to it, as I say. It's a lucky globe. And then of course he has several details on the sides of his face, on the sides of his legs, and also tail as well. So among the articulation, he can actually open up his mouth, close it, and then as if he's eating like so. He's really cute whenever he's doing that. And although Ankylosauruses would actually appear as stiff, this particular costume of mine has several, articulations to it so that it allows Bumpy to move freely, such as, articulations in the head, and he can actually do this particular pose as if it's like a dog waggling its tail like so, but he's actually protecting himself from predators. Cuteness overload, Bumpy. Well, among the articulations would also include, articulations on the neck like so. He can actually turn his head from right to left. Even the neck part is actually movable as well. Of course, Bumpy here can move his legs like so, and then definitely will have a range of movement on the tail portion because it is a ball and socket articulation on the base. It's actually a little bit hidden from the side so that it doesn't look, disjointed from the other sections of the body. Aside from that, Bumpy also has this articulation on the club as well, so for added possibility. And I guess that's it for the closer look on our Bumpy here. Let's just play with him some more so that you'll have, a little bit more time with Bumpy. If you're liking this video so far, don't forget to like the button, don't be shy. Well, let's now move on with the size comparisons of Bumpy. Now for the size comparisons, aside from, comparing it with Usher here, we will be comparing it with one of my previous works for later. Now, for now, let's compare Bumpy here, the adult Bumpy, with Usher. And you can see here that it's just about the right size in terms of, comparing it with other full-grown Ankylosauruses. So let's have a picture here for you to see. There you go. And that's it for our size comparisons with the human. We can now move on with the next comparison that we have, which is, a homage to what I did from before, back when I was actually still playing, Jurassic World, LEGO the game. Right, so here it is, my old version of the Ankylosaurus from Jurassic World LEGO the game. And you can see here several differences, in not only the colors, but also the entire shape. Even the sculpting is very different from how I did it several years ago. I think this was around 4 or 5 years ago. So this is actually based off from the Dubac actually figure, so the legs don't move. I did make several adjustments so that the head would actually move. The tail is not also articulated, but it's nice for me to have, the Ankylosaurus back in the collection from before. So it took me a while before, I recreated the Ankylosaurus, and since Bumpy is so in demand, so here it is for you guys, Bumpy. So for now, I'll still be keeping my Ankylosaurus here. It's actually one of my very first customs from before, and it does have some sentimental value. Well, let's move on with another Ankylosaurus here. This is the Lego Baby Bumpy. Ah, he's so cute. You can see here. Oops, I dropped Baby Bumpy. Sorry. Well, you can see here, he has this big googly eyes with several details on the back. Also one stud on the back as well, with that little tail on its far end. There are subtle differences between this Lego Bumpy and the Bumpy from the show. I know you guys are, very particular with that, and maybe I can do something to this one, maybe color it up a bit, I don't know. If you'd like to see me take on the Baby Bumpy as well, please comment down below, don't be shy. Okay, so we can now head on with other comparisons for Bumpy. So I'll be showing you some characters from the show which is very particular, that Bumpy has actually met. And this is the Extinct Bricks Dimorphodon. You can see here that the Dimorphodon, was actually in contact with Bumpy before, and he actually bumped his head on it, while the Dimorphodon is actually attacking Darius. I was actually surprised that Dimorphodon is still alive after Bumpy has, trampled him. So this Dimorphodon has actually been, uploaded the video, so if you haven't seen that, watch it please. Well, let's move on with our next comparison by Mr. Dimorphodon, and this is the Extinct Bricks Monolophosaurus. Now, in the series of Season 3, you can see that the Monolophosaurus is actually very, aggressive, and they were actually attacking the kids during their visit in the penthouse of Kenji's dad. And actually, although Bumpy is about to attack them, they were actually already inside the penthouse, so Bumpy cannot actually fit into the vents. This Monolophosaurus is available for you to view as well in the Extinct Bricks playlist, so please check it out guys. Well, let's move on to the next comparison, and this is the Extinct Bricks Carnotaurus version 1. The Carnotaurus is actually the main protagonist in both the Season 1 and also in Season 2 as well. The Carnotaurus or Toro actually had a fight with the Ankylosaurus Bumpy when Bumpy was actually already a little bit grown up, and they were actually able to beat the Carnotaurus by kicking him in the butt. So long, Toro! Well, let's move on with the next comparison here. Bumpy is ready to meet his next comparison, and this is actually the main antagonist of Season 3, which is also the previous video that I just released. And this is the Extinct Bricks Scorpius Rex or E750. Oh no! Bumpy is scared, I can see. But he doesn't have to be afraid because he's actually protected by his armor. Even if the Scorpius Rex would scratch him or, whip his tail on his face or even on his back, Bumpy is actually protected like so. Yeah, that's not gonna affect Bumpy even here on the back as well. So move along, Scorpius Rex, you're now match for Bumpy. Boosh. And of course, you can see here that by size comparison, the Scorpius Rex is definitely larger than that of Bumpy. Move along, Mr. Scorpius Rex. And in the Season 1 of Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, there's one main big antagonist. This is the Indominus Rex. So you can see here my Camp Cretaceous Indominus Rex, which is actually patterned from, I think, Season 1 for Camp Cretaceous. It has this, included additional spikes or quills on its head, quills on its arms, even extended the tail as well. Well, thank you, Mr. Indominus Rex. And in the Camp Cretaceous, even Jurassic World and Jurassic Park, there are actually two main protagonist dinosaurs. This is of course, the Tyrannosaurus Rex and, Velociraptor Blue here. Now, I would just like to see all three, protagonist dinosaurs, all in all, helping each other, fighting other hybrids or something like that. I think it would be a good thing, but I don't know. A herbivore working with the Tyrannosaurus and the Velociraptor wouldn't be ideal, but nonetheless, I'd like to see that. How about you guys? Well, I'm gonna leave you at that for your imagination. And now it's time for us to move on with the Extinct Bricks species roll call. So there are a few more dinosaurs in Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Season 3 that I haven't really made still. So if you'd like to, comment and suggest those dinosaurs, please do comment them. I do read your comments and I'm really glad to, have this interaction with you guys. Also, Usher here would like to remind everyone that all these creatures that you see here is in our Extinct Bricks playlist, and I might actually include all the links in the description box below for you to have, direct access on these videos as well. Alright, so let's start with our species roll call. Starting off with the smallest one here, let's have Bumpy. The Lego Bumpy here. And then we also have Blue, the Velociraptor. We also have the Ankylosaurus here. Oh, I forgot. Here is the Extinct Bricks Dimorphodon. This is the Extinct Bricks Carnotaurus. Extinct Bricks E750 or Scorpius Rex. Of course, this is the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Indominus Rex. And of course, we have here Rexy from Jurassic World Jurassic Park. And of course, the star of the show here, our best friend, Bumpy. And now for some last looks. The Ankylosaurus actually came from the Greek words Ankylus and Sauro, meaning crooked lizard. Bumpy is a formerly baby Ankylosaurus that was born in Jurassic World. It was actually born with one large horn and then the other is smaller. In Season 2, Ben also nicknamed her Bumps. In Season 3, Jasmina also nicknamed her as Bumpster. Sometimes she is also referred to as a bumper car. It's a bright sunny day and it's a good time for us to have a stroll with our best friend here, Bumpy. And that's it for our video on Bumpy. I hope you guys like it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. It means the world to me. Well, also don't forget to support our other channels, EB Toy Universe and The Adventures of Moira and Usher. Please watch their videos and support their channels well by subscribing. And as we always would say, let your inner Dino Break roar! Thanks everyone!